So what we're going to do in this tutorial is take a look at skinning our character. After we skin our character, then we're going to go ahead and build out a hand controller. So there's a couple things I do whenever I'm skinning a character. Is I select all of the NURBS controllers. So let's go to show. Let's remove polygons, and then I'm going to uncheck everything but NURBS curves. So in geometry, so we get something like this. So what I'm essentially going to do is create a button up top that allows me to select all of my controls at the same time, or all of my controllers. So I'm going to go to history, or edit rather, clear history, select all of my controllers, and that's going to select everything. Click in the view, hit Control A, and then clicking the middle mouse button or the wheel on my mouse, I'm just going to drag it up to my custom toolbar, and I'm going to hit Mel. So what this is going to allow me to do is select all of the controllers at the same time. Then I hit S to set a key. And so right off the bat, I know that my character can be locked at that position, because when I go to reference it in later, I know that they're all zeroed out. So if I ever need to, I can always go back to that position. Okay, so what I want to do at this point is I want to start to skin my model. So before I the steps that I sort of do to skin my model is I first skin everything 100% and 50%, and then I do a test animation and I tweak the all of the verts by smaller percentages. So let's just jump right in. So let's first of all select our mesh, and then I'm going to shift select our root. Okay, so let's make sure joints is selected, and then I'm going to go to skin, and I'm going to go to edit smooth skin. I'm sorry, bind skin, and I'm going to go to smooth bind. Now your max influencers are usually set to 5. I set mine to 3. Now binding method, skinning method, I usually go to dual quaternion. What that does is that keeps the values at even numbers across the surface. So if we go ahead and hit apply, you'll notice that as I move the foot here, I get a lot smoother transition between the joints. I still get a little bit of pulling because the joints are really close together, but it's less than if I would have done it the standard way. The next thing I want to do is I kind of want to start to break up the coloring of my joints, or of our controller. So I'm going to go ahead and select that controller. Then I'm going to hit Control A, and that's going to bring up our component. So if you open let's do, oh, I'm sorry, if you open the L foot controller and you open display, open display, and then you want to open drawing overrides, enable overrides. What we can do is we can actually adjust the colors of our handles. So if I make that one red, it makes it a little bit easier for me to see. And then I can actually just go ahead and hold shift and select each one of these guys, including this, and just make them all red. Enable overrides on all of those, and just make them all a little bit of a bright red like that. And that makes let's ensure that all these guys are the same. There we go. There we go. That makes it a little bit easier for me to kind of see these guys as I animate. There we go, that's a lot better. It also makes it easier for me to kind of control them. Same thing here. So you can go through and do the same thing with the spine and all that. But for right now, I'm just going to leave this half this bright red, and then I'll leave this other half. Maybe I'll go with let's do a green or something. So let's select each one of these guys here, or we'll go with a blue. Enable overrides. I'm going to go with a bright blue. Actually, this bright green looks cool. There we go. Makes it a little bit easier for me to see. And we'll do the same thing for this foot. We'll make this that same bright green. Okay, so now that we've got that set up, let's go ahead and take a look at skinning our model. So I kind of have a general rule. Whenever there is a vert or edge that's in between two joints, I weighted it 100% to that bone. So let's start with this edge row here. And you can see here, when I uncheck bones here, I'm going to go to vertex and select that vertex here. And then I'm going to go to Window, General Editors, Component Editor. In our Component Editor window, if you click on Smooth Skins, you can see right here that this is currently controlled by the left clavicle, a joint 2, and the left elbow. Well, if we look at this, let's make sure that our shoulder is named properly first. It looks like that's what's named joint 2, so I'm just going to go ahead and name that L_shoulder. This is a good way to catch mistakes. Okay, so I want these verts here weighted 100% to L shoulder. So if I click off and click back on, you can see it updates. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just clicking on the word L shoulder, then I'm holding down the control key, and I'm going to type the number 1. So what you'll notice in the totals off to the side, it adds everything up. So this is vertex 409, it's one of these verts here. The left clavicle is weighting it a little bit, and our shoulder is weighting it 100%. We really just want this to be 100% weighted to just our shoulder and nothing else. So I'm going to select my left clavicle, holding the control key down, I'm going to zero these guys out. And now my left shoulder is controlling that 100%. So as I go to rotate this arm down, I'm going to go up about -5 frames. Oops, wrong one. Let's select our shoulder. You can see that it's weighted 100% there. And because I set that initial key, you can see that it kind of bends. On this edge here, so I'm going to right click, go to edge mode, and then double click this edge. I'm going to control right click to vertices, and then just holding control and shift, I'm going to select these verts off to the side. Now what you'll notice is that vert bends in as that arm comes down. That's not very natural, and that's not what I want. And I know this bone is called spine 3. So I actually, again, because this row is in between these two joints here, I'm going to weight this 100% to spine 3. So first I'm going to click on spine 3, holding control down. I'm going to weight this 100%. Then I'm going to control click each one of these guys leading up to spine 3. I'm going to deselect each one of these and then just type a 0 in there. Same thing with joint 2. I don't want joint 2. And so now let's go ahead and look at our animation, and you could see it folds a little more naturally. Now I might want this to bend a little bit as my shoulder comes down. So what I can do at this point is I can go to skin, edit smooth skin, and I'm just going to hold control and shift and add my paint skin weights tool up here and double click it. Now a trick that I normally do is I'm going to go ahead and select L shoulder. Let's find that in here. And you can see right now it's not weighting, it's not controlling this at all. What I can do is I can set my opacity to 100%, and I could just set my value to 0.1. Okay, and then hit enter. Now if I click flood once, what you'll notice is I've just added 0.1 to L shoulder. So I can test this and see how that looks. And that's a little bit better. I want it to kind of push in a little bit as my arm comes down. Alright, and I'm fine with that. Alright, here's another edge. This edge sits directly in between the spine 3 and spine 2. So I'm going to go to edge mode, double click this, control right click, go to two vertices, and see what's controlling it. So you can see here, right now this is being controlled by the root, the spine 01, and the spine 02. So the first thing I want to do is let's look at what these bones are. So if I select this joint here, you can see that's spine 2 actually. spine 3 is up there, and this is spine 1 down here. So again, I'm going to double click this edge, control right click to vertices, and because it's between these two joints, I'm going to weight it 50%. So I know for a fact I don't want any weighting on this root, so I'm going to go ahead and zero that out to get rid of it. Now the tricky part here is you could see that none of these equate to 100%. This is where a lot of people struggle when it comes to skinning with Maya. Verts flip out, they don't understand why. You have to weight something 100%. So I'm going to go ahead and select spine 1 and type a 1 here and weight that 100%. So now I know for a fact that spine 1 is going to be controlling this 100%. Then I'm going to select spine 2 and I'm going to type in 0.5 for 50. Now I have 150% weighting. That's not what I want. I want this edge weighted 50-50. So you have to go back to your spine 1 and type a 0.5 here and hit enter. Now they're weighted equally 50-50. And if I go in, select this controller here, and I rotate it, you can see I get a nice even distribution of weight as I twist my model around. Okay? In the next video, we're going to start to tackle from the feet up and weight the entire body.